This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon. This is the meeting of the Davenport Public Library Board of Trustees. It's Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. We're meeting in the Brook Room of the Fairbound branch of the Davenport Public Library. This is a partially electronic meeting, and it is being held as such because a fully in-person meeting is impossible or impractical due to concerns for the health and safety of board members, staff, and the public presented by COVID-19 and follow the governor's proclamation directing social distancing. So with that, we'll get into our agenda. First item is Amanda Motto.
Here.
Thank you. Craig Cooper.
Sure.
Thank you. Maggie Motto.
Here.
Thank you. Tom Engelman is not here. Is he on the phone? Okay. Sylvia.
Here.
Judy Lance.
Here.
Thank you.
Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Joe Hendricks was not able to be here. And I'm Steve Emming, and I'm here.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, sorry. Malabika Trikanti. Are you here? Sorry about that. I was working on last month. Oh, let's try it again. Okay, the second item on the agenda is the consent agenda. That includes approval of the agenda for today, approval of the minutes for the previous meeting, July 21st, and also the financial reports. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda. It's Sylvia.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia.
Second.
Second, okay, Malavika, second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in approve, excuse me, I have to have a roll call. Amanda?
Yes.
Thank you. Craig? Yes. Maggie?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Malavika?
Yes.
And my own vote is yes. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public with comments. Is there anyone from the public on the phone? Okay. Seeing and hearing no one for public with comment, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda. Reports and communications. First item there is the Friends. Laura, do you have anything for us today?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope that the sound quality is okay.
Hi, Laura.
Hello. Not a lot to report. Unfortunately, in a true 2020 fashion, our Friends meeting for last Tuesday had to be postponed because of the derecho and the power outage. So we are working on rescheduling that meeting. Oh, I'm getting a lot of background and feedback. I guess I'll just have to deal with that.
Just a minute. Let me turn my mic on.
That meeting for this Friday at noon, and we'll be meeting as a group to authorize the use of the funds and, show the city, the city needs all of the funds to be pledged and committed. And so we want to demonstrate that to the city so that we can begin bidding the project and really get to work this winter. So that's our big, not a lot of updates. That's where we are right now. I don't know if there's any questions that anyone has for me. Otherwise, I'll, wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Can I interject just a second? Sylvia, you show that you're presenting on our screen. Can you turn off and not be a presenter?
I don't know, I just turned my microphone off. Okay,
Because
I don't,
we're actually seeing your screen and your mouse move around.
Oh, it is.
okay, let's see, where would that be? Under settings? No,
You would know how to turn that off. It would be,
I'm working on it, if anybody knows.
I think bottom of the screen where there's the three buttons, the microphone, the camera, and then the next one is screen. I think if you click that, it will unshare your screen.
Let's see. I'm sorry, stop
there
sharing
you
your
go.
screen. Okay.
Here you go. Thank you.
I was trying to share my screen because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. All right, sorry.
That's
Got
okay.
it.
Well, at least I learned something now. Okay. Next item on the agenda is committee reports. First item there is finance. You have anything, Tom?
No, you did see that there were two separate budget recaps we got. One was for the year we just ended, and then one is for the new year. So, they look similar, but the numbers are obviously different. I don't think there's anything extraordinary in either one of those.
Okay, thank you. And also just to add that for purposes of the roll call, that Tom Engelman is chairing the meeting. Okay, back to the committee reports. Next item on the agenda there is personnel. Amanda or Craig, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, Craig and I will probably be distributing the surveys to the board within the next couple of weeks, just with regard to getting Amy's evaluation done on time this year. I believe the staff and supervisors will also be getting surveys administered to them within the next couple of weeks as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next item on the committee reports is advocacy. Alavika, anything?
I just continued conversation about, I had brought this up a while back about registration plates in public library. And I have started continuing conversation with, I was told I should talk to our representatives. So I've sent them an email, and there was a third idea, we'll take it off from here and talk to Laura shortly about friends and registration plates. Someone gave me this novel idea, which friends would benefit from monetarily, but I will explain that further maybe through email or things like that, till I get some firm information.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is director's reports. Maybe anything to amplify or add? Or?
Well, so to add to the report, the street in front of Main is closed right now from 4th Street to the alley. The apartment building across the street is having some structural issues. Some of their bricks on the facade have dropped off. So they're having a structural engineer come to take a look at the building very shortly. I think they're supposed to be there maybe even right now. And then the city or fire department, they will let us know if they feel that we need to actually close the sidewalk in front of Main. If we do that, we can open the 4th Street door. We're already staffing that welcome desk, so we already have staff assigned to do that, so we'll just move that around. So hopefully that is not a super bad issue that building has. But they are investigating to see actually what sort of challenges they're looking at there. So that was new this morning, as of year 2020. The The budget kickoff meeting for the city is scheduled for September 15th. And at that point is where we should learn about COVID-19 impacts to the city budget for the fiscal year that we're in, as well as what some of their projections are for fiscal year 2022, which they're starting to work on now. So after that meeting, which is the Tuesday morning before the next trustee meeting, I think we should have some more information for the trustees on the state of the budget and what we'll be looking at. And then just an update, I mentioned that Cafe de Marie is very interested in leasing the cafe space at Eastern. And we've had some conversation back and forth about the lease. City Legal has already taken a look at the lease. They were getting, I think, really close. They just needed one more chance to review, and then the storm hit, and their current building was very badly impacted. And so they just haven't had a chance to take a look at it. It sounds like what they would be planning to do, given, again, it sounds like extraordinary damage that they had, to sign a lease and have, so that they know that, so we know we have a commitment, and then they know that they have this thing they're working toward, but possibly not then opening until December or January, because they've got a lot to work through at their current space. So, so I think that's it. The staff, I want to say, did a really great job last week. We had Fairmont and Eastern closed for part of the time because we were out of power. And then when we got it back, we had a lot of patrons in who were desperate for a place to charge their devices, use some Wi-Fi, things like that. And of course, there was stress because some staff were still kind of badly impacted and went a long time without power. But then also patrons, as it got longer and longer, people got a little cranky, and they were a little unhappy about the fact that even though we kind of waffled a little bit on some of our restrictions, we still couldn't allow people to, spend 8 hours in the building. So, but I think the staff handled that with compassion and flexibility, and so that was really, really nice to see. So I think that's about it, unless anybody has any questions.
Okay. Are you going someplace nice on your vacation?
We are going to take a socially distant backpacking trip. And we have in Yellowstone and then into Idaho.
Oh,
wow. So,
sounds nice.
So nice. Looking forward to it. And, and it's the perfect vacation for a pandemic.
You won't see many people really long.
No, we won't see hardly anybody. Once we're, out in the backcountry, we won't hardly see anybody. Last year we went 2.5 days without seeing anybody, so yeah.
Okay. Okay, next item under reports and communications is council liaison. Marion, are you on by any chance? Okay, guess not.
Yeah, she sent me an email that said she wouldn't be able to.
Oh.
So in terms of census, they're really doing a strong push to get people to fill out the census because of the shortened timeline for enumerators going door to door. Since we're an official census partner, I decided that we could host tables for some of their outreach workers. So I expect at Maine, at some point in time in the next few weeks, we will have a census worker there. And we'll just give them a nice socially distant table someplace in the library. So if people want to come in and fill out the census there, they can do that. I think they want to be down at Maine because we're kind of right in the middle of some of their low response census tracts where they're really trying to make sure that they count folks. So.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is new business. First item there is discussion of the 2018 to 2021 strategic plan draft.
Sure.
Talk about that, Amy.
So this is the not very fancy looking version of the plan, and the items that are in italics are things that we would be changing as we extend the plan through calendar year 2021. So under goal 1, we added one additional strategy. It puts emphasis on virtual programming. Under goal 2, originally that goal really focused on the downtown area. And I think as we're especially looking to finish the renovations, that we want to emphasize that, you know, the building is really for all of the residents of Davenport. And we're not just working with the downtown community, and to kind of expand that focus a little bit. And then strategy 6 under goal 2 added the phrasing at the end to position the library as a vital educational and cultural asset. Again, looking towards the whole community, not just really the downtown area. And then goal 3 stays nearly exactly the same. So with this, remember that, so this is the strategic plan, and then once this is approved, we'll present the implementation plan for the, that provides more details about how we would plan to implement the various strategies during the course of calendar year 2021.
Thank you, Amy. Are there any questions or comments, other discussions about the changes to the strategic plan?
Steve, I have
Yes,
some
Melanie.
questions first. Maybe I just have one small question. Go to number 6, that as you mentioned, you know, developing, that's the new thing that we added, right? Developing partnerships with that for education.
So the part about further develop partnerships with Davenport educational, there's a typo there, and cultural institutions. So that was already all in there.
The other.
And then the piece, the last 4 words that are in italics, was what was added.
But I had a question, immediately, not a question. How can we, in any way, is there a possibility that we could help the library make connections with maybe stakeholders in these particular institutions? I mean, is there any?
Oh, I'm sure.
How can we further help?
So as we take a look at this, as we put together the actual steps that we're going to take in the implementation plan, we can share a conversation about that.
That would be very.
That would give us some more specifics about how to do that.
Absolutely. So there might be something that we maybe could further the connection of whatever.
Yeah, that was terrific.
Thank
Amy, does this Resilient Communities grant, would that be something to add to a strategic plan, or would it become part of?
It would become part of the implementation.
It fits in the goals. It's just, I don't know how it goes to what level.
Any other questions or comments regarding the strategic plan draft? Okay, seeing none, we will move on.
And then we'll have that on the agenda next time for approval.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda under new business is a motion to approve expansion of the branch library hours so that the Fairmount and Eastern Avenue branches will be open Monday through Thursday until 8 p.m. and to allow for temporary changes as needed during the COVID-19 pandemic. I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Have a motion and a second to approve the motion regarding the expansion of the branch library hours. Is there any discussion? Tom?
If I could just say, I really like the fact that, you know, everything's going to be more or less consistent hours. know that's always been our struggle to, get to that point. Is there any issues that you see going forward with this at this point?
Well, we were hoping we could start the Tuesday after Labor Day, but with some staffing challenges, we've actually identified Monday, September 21st as our first day. That we'll do that. After that time, I think we look pretty good. So we should be able to be okay with that. So we just had a few unexpected things kind of happen. And then with staff kind of figuring out the back to school piece and just getting all that in place. So that said, we anticipate that we can continue to cover those hours, but this is again 2020. And so potentially there could be situations where we might, look out and find that there's a problem. What I would see as more likely would be a temporary closure if, knock on wood, we have not had any staff members test positive. And so if that would happen, then, and we had staff members who potentially had to quarantine because they were in close contact with somebody, a staff member who tested positive, then that potentially could impact the hours.
Yeah,
That would be the big thing I would see that
obviously
would impact.
that part is understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, I think we're in good shape. Lexi and some other folks have done a lot of schedule crunching even before we, as we were asking for the funding for it. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding or any further discussion, I guess, I should say, regarding the motion to approve the branch library? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, I'll call for the vote on the motion to approve expansion of branch library hours so that the Fairmont and Eastern Avenue branches will be open Monday through Thursday until 8 p.m. and to allow for temporary changes as needed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, call for the vote. Craig?
Yeah.
Maggie?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Malavika?
Yes.
And my own vote is yes, the motion carries. Whoops, I'm sorry, Amanda.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a motion to approve the bidding of the main library renovation project. I entertain a motion of that regard.
I'll move that.
Okay. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. We have a motion and a second to approve the bidding of the main library renovation project. Call for the vote. Maggie?
Sorry. Yes.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Malavika?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
And Craig?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion, my own vote is yes. The motion carries. Thank you everyone very much. Next item on the agenda is a motion to approve the transfer of up to $150,000 from the following gift accounts to the main library CIP account. From those be from the Lyrasis Fund, Prairie Cat Refund, I'm sorry, that's Lyrasis Refund, Prairie Cat Refund, Eastern American Rebate, and the Patron Use Printer Revenue. Is there any discussion?
I'll move the motion.
I'm sorry. We have a motion from Tom. Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Still have to say.
Okay. Thank you, Malavika seconded the motion. Okay, now, is there any discussion regarding the motion?
Can I ask what, I presume these are all items that have happened over years and we're just going to use them.
Sure, yeah, and I can explain a little bit on that. And then also I sent the additional spreadsheet that shows you how the funding impacts the budget for the project. So the two that are identified as refunds, PROCAT and Lyrasis. So these are, previously, you'll see that Lyrasis refund came November of 2011. So that money's been there for a long time. So it used to be what we did for some of the services that we contract, both for the shared card cataloging circulation system, and then for the cataloging services that we would get, we would pay on an annual basis to both PROCAT and Lyrasis a set amount, and then we would draw from that money during the course of the year. So we would pay once and then draw from that money. There was often funding left over in those accounts, so we didn't use it all, but then we usually made the same payment every year. So over the course of many numbers of years, those amounts grew. And then when we withdrew from PROCAT and started RiverShare, that money was refunded. And then the Lyrasis is really just because OCLC changed how we do business with them. And they used to do business through some regional service centers. And so Lyrasis was one of them. And now we just deal directly with OCLC, and they changed their subscription model. So
what is OCLC?
OCLC is the cataloging utility that we use to get the bibliographic records that are loaded into the catalog. So that's where that funding came from. The Eastern Mid-American Rebates / Taft County Conservation. So in case you will correct me if I'm wrong here about when we had that. So with Eastern being a lead building, there was some money that came back as rebate for energy efficiency. We used some of that money for the UV lights at Maine, but then we got a rebate for doing some of that. And so that's what that funding is there from. And then the reader printer revenue has simply, the patron use printer revenue. So that's from the 10 cents a page that we charge library patrons for doing the printing, and that money has just kind of continued to grow. We do expense some of it out to pay for the services. So the annual fee for the printing service that we pay. But there is certainly revenue there that can be used. So we would recommend that we use the first three first, and then make up additional funding that we would need from that patron use printer revenue.
Those 10 cents that sure add up.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments? Okay, hearing and seeing none, excuse me. Call for the vote of the motion to approve the transfer up to $150,000 from the following gift accounts to the main library CIP account. Lyrasis refund, PROCAT refund, Eastern Mid-American rebate, and the printer use revenue. Patron use printer revenue. Call for the vote. Tom?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Malavika?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Greg? And Maggie?
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much. There is no old business. And the next item on the agenda is to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Tom moved to adjourn. Is there a second? Okay, thank you, Craig. We have a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Hey.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Motion carries. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, we're available within our COVID-19 restrictions
Yeah.
is the problem. So, so that's why we're at the Wi-Fi tables, so. we'll be able
You know,
to-
I'm so